It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hello, everyone. It's a new week. It's a new Wednesday, and the person joining me is not Gary K. Who are you, person who has joined me randomly?
Yes, randomly. I just found the link and joined you. My name is
I found you on the street and was like,
yes.
"Hey, do you want to
Found me on
join
the
this
streets of
week?"
Vegas, no less.
Yes.
Tim Albright from AV Nation. How are you, Steph?
Good. How are you? How are things? How have you settled down after NAB?
I don't think I have yet.
Yeah.
We got to hang out in Vegas a couple of times, and it was fun, right?
Yeah.
And NAB was a good time. But being back home, was it a week now? Still haven't gotten back in the swing of things, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think that I have either. But it didn't help that I came home I was on the red eye home, stayed for 2 days, and then took an overnight train to Florida for a friend's bachelorette weekend.
Nice.
And then got home Sunday at midnight. So I just don't think that I have acclimated to anywhere that I've been over the past 3 weeks. I don't know where I am or what day it is or really anything. So but I am home now for a month. So that's nice. I can settle down a little bit. Wait, I forgot to tell you this. The next time I'm traveling, I'm actually going to St. Louis for a wedding.
Oh, wow. When?
Yeah. May 16th through 18th, I will be in town.
I will just be getting back into town. So hit me up
Okay.
and I will show you the 3 things there are to see in St. Louis.
Great. Yeah, we should get lunch while I'm in town or something. That'd be fun.
That is 100%. So St. Louis is famous for a couple of things food-wise. I actually brought my buddy Chris Netto to the St. Louis style pizza, which is a thin crust, and I'll tell you about it. Gooey butter cake is a big thing.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
And then the St. Louis version, St. Louis has a Italian section called the Hill, which over the last 200 years, this is where the Italian folks landed, and it is some of the best Italian. It is the best Italian in St. Louis.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a popcorn too, or did I dream that?
I believe that is Chicago. That's Garrett's.
Oh, okay. Well, same general area. So.
I will give you same general area coming from North Carolina. Yes.
Thank you. Well, okay. I wrote a piece about NAB, and Gary and I talked about this a little bit, when I initially came back last week, but I finally got the piece up, and it was about a lot of the things that you and I talked about while we were there, but just of how the general vibe of the show was very different than an Infocom or an ISE. I think that you had told me that it was a very buttoned up trade show, which I do think it's definitely catching on to the rest of the trade show world, where everyone's just kind of starting to get a little more relaxed. Not everyone there was wearing a suit or anything at all. But I think that is partially because they've introduced this new creator crowd to NAB. 100%. It is not all formal cut and dry pro broadcast stuff anymore. They do actually have a lot of B2C product, and a lot of people brought their B2C product as well as their B2B broadcast stuff. So that was very interesting to see. It would be an AV integrator, it would be people who work in pro broadcast, and then it would be a YouTuber. There were the 3, but actually a lot of end users too, pro end users, but just a ton of YouTubers. I've never seen so many in all my days.
The pro side is what's really interesting to me, because you've got corporate and a little bit of education folks that are going there because they're building out their own facilities.
Yes.
So you've certainly got the content creators, you got the YouTubers. B&H had a huge section specifically for those folks, and a number of other folks did as well. But you also had integrators, dealers who were walking around with their clients, let's say Fortune 500 to be generic.
Yeah.
And you're saying, okay, you want to build out your own facility, here it is, right? Sony had a great XR experience where they were showing a live demonstration of a direct view LED, right? And a camera and combining all that into software that will take you, again, we've talked about this, the Mandalorian and that effect of using direct view LED, except changing out your green screen for this direct view LED and this XR Studio stuff.
Yes, for 100%. And then there were companies. Did you go by View Technologies perchance?
No, I did not.
So they are kind of new on the scene, but they are a lot more consumer, and their whole purpose is making virtual production and like the act of it like cheaper for potentially a school, but also like just for people who want to do that, which I thought was so interesting. So it was like all of this professional technology, but like in a lot of places it would be boiled down to like, here's a version of this for a consumer. So yeah. I thought that was very interesting. It was a good show. And if you want to see Tim and I talk even more about NAB, we're going to do that as part of Launch Week 11, which is next week. Yep. There's a lot I have left to do for it, so I'm really anxious. But it's going to be April 24th. That session, I think, is going to be at 2 p.m. So definitely come. The whole week is CTS, CTSI, and CTSD certified. Yep. 2.5 RUs per day, so 7.5 if you come to all 3 days. So definitely show up. Tim and I are going to spend probably like 30, 40 minutes talking about some of our favorite things from NAB. Yeah. So it's going to be great.
It'd be awesome.
But all right, we have a guest this week and we're excited to bring him on. But before we do that, we have a quick commercial from our sponsor and partner, Shure. So we're going to do that and then we will introduce our guest.
The story of sound is the story of us, a 100-year-long story. Through a century of change, Shure's been there. In every presentation, every conversation, uniting people and perspectives, amplifying dialogues that span generations, and igniting connections that push us forward. Because sound doesn't just tell our story, it shapes our future and inspires us to keep innovating. So here's to 100 years of extraordinary sound and the next 100.
All right. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest, David Anderson from Mimo Monitors. First of all, David, haven't seen you in a minute. How have you been?
Oh, we've been good. I've been good. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's nice that the Chicago weather is starting to become spring.
Oh, yes. Yes. We're kind of experiencing that in North Carolina as well. Tim, are you experiencing the same thing in St. Louis?
We are in St. Louis. We get Chicago weather plus or minus 10 degrees.
How beautiful.
Yeah.
As for me, I'm just kind of like doing my best to breathe through the multiple clouds of pollen that I walk through each day to get here. But David, okay, we're very excited to talk to you because Gary and I got an email, I think it was last week, and it was all about how Mimo and its single wire software have announced this integration to overlay visual alerts on HDMI enabled devices. So this is kind of for Mimo's Flashcast. Can you tell us first a little bit about Flashcast, what it does, how it works?
So Flashcast is a product that we sell relatively small. I guess I should have one here, but I don't.
No
as
worries.
you would tell. But it's a small, light IoT device that is intended to be able to put anything over the top of an HDMI stream. And the idea is to be able to push basically anything, graphics, text, alerts, information, that kind of stuff over the top of screens that are already installed, right?
Oh, very cool.
So this came out of a conversation with a large customer who wanted to push alerts into their conference rooms.
Oh, okay. Very neat. How does the partnership with Single Wire work? How does this further the work that Flashcast already does?
Well, so single wire, Flashcast can work on its own in as much as there's a cloud piece that allows you to control alerting. It's integrated with CAP alerts, so government alerts for weather and things like that. And then, of course, you can create your own alerts or pick alerts, or we're releasing a mobile app. So it has a bunch of capability on its own, but the hardware is visual only. Whereas alerting in general tends to include other things, audio, as visual. It may include other things as well. So, and that's what single wire does that we don't do. I liken it to the big red button. Single wire is the big red button. When you hit the big
Okay.
red button, you want lots of things to happen if it's a major emergency. So you want a message to go up on your screen. You want a message to come out your intercom. You either want to lock or unlock your doors. You want the fire alarm to go off. You may want to text your users. There's lots of things that can happen because things are connected, and that's what single wire brings. So it brings MIMO into a larger infrastructure.
David, you talking about the visual alerting, and obviously we've had audio alerting for a while. Do you see the industry, both from the education standpoint as certainly in government, where the visual alerting is going to become more standard or even best practices?
Well, I certainly hope so. I mean, it isn't there today, and I think a lot of the reason is because it's been pretty expensive, or it's all dedicated hardware.
Okay.
And people don't want to put a secondary screen in a conference room or a classroom or whatever. And even if you do, the cost of that hardware has been relatively high. So we certainly haven't seen that tipping point yet, but I'm hoping that the release of our hardware will create that, because this is hardware that we've been working on for years, literally probably 4 now, and it has been an iteration of hardware design, and we want to be able to get it to a price point where it really becomes a no-brainer, and it really is a tipping point to everywhere. So in volume, being able to add alerts to any HDMI connected to screen is under $200 per endpoint.
Oh, wow.
That's really great. That's important also for accessibility, right? Because we talk about like auditory alerts a lot, but not everyone can hear or hear as well as the average person. So, like, do you want to talk a little bit about the accessibility benefits that come with adding visual alerts to your system?
Well, there's, I think, 2 benefits to adding visual alerts over audio. One is accessibility. Yes, there are people who are hard of hearing and can't hear alerts, but they also can't hear things like morning announcements in schools and things like that, right? There are companies that try to solve that problem as well, but putting it up on the taking over the projector or the big screen or the smart board in the front of a K-12 classroom for a few minutes to put the alerts up there, to put up other important information that may not be critical, like a change to bus schedules or today's lunch or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
We can just borrow a screen. I liken it to temporary digital signage, right? It's a screen that does what it's supposed to do, but we can take it over temporarily and then just flip it back to whatever it is that screen was supposed to do. And I guess the other important thing is we don't have to do a full screen takeover. We can put up just an icon in the corner or a ticker of text across the bottom, and the rest of it is completely unaffected. Now, to get back to the audio piece, we've been trained through our lives that we know what a fire alarm sounds like. We know what a siren sounds like. We know, for those of us who live in tornado areas, we know what a tornado siren means, right? But God forbid some of the other emergencies, there's no such thing as an active shooter alarm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if something started to beep, you'd not necessarily know what to do. Whereas if you can see it, then you should stay in place, or you should get out, or and the other thing with audio is because it's everywhere, it's possible you'd be providing information to people you wouldn't want to provide. So and then other benefits is because it's all zoned, you can push the alert only to the areas that you want. One of the examples that we had, we were talking with UCLA and the fires. It was a perfect use case for our stuff because of the fires, because only part of only part of one campus was affected by the fires
Yeah.
in LA. And they didn't want to send a text alert to everybody because it can create panic when
Yep.
it isn't necessary.
Makes sense.
No, that's a really good use case. That's really awesome that this is something that you guys are doing that not everyone has thought of or thought you guys are kind of really ahead of the game. Is there anything else on the horizon for Mimo right now? Anything else you guys are working on that you can tell me about?
Well, it's the telling you apart.
That's always the tricky part.
We promise we won't tell
info-
anybody, David.
Huh? I'm sorry.
I said we promise we won't tell anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my marketing person would want me to say that InfoComm is coming, so we've got some new announcements to come. On the Flashcast side, we're it's constantly being innovated. We're constantly adding new features. We can update it remotely. We're working right now on adding Wi-Fi to it, so that it's a little easier to
cool.
be wired or Wi-Fi depending on what your install is. So
Cool.
all that kind of stuff is coming.
Well,
but there's
very
other
cool.
things from Mimo coming, but we're in a little media blackout.
Yeah, that's totally fine. You just run us the little press release when it goes live. That sounds good.
Yeah.
But can't wait to see you at InfoComm. Sounds good,
Yep.
David. And I'm obviously a big fan of your company and everything you guys do. When I have talked to people new to the industry, I've been like, oh, you guys know Mimo because they have the small monitors at the airports where you walk up at the end of TSA and you look into the camera, that little monitor there that pulls up your picture. That's a Mimo.
Yep.
So
and it even has most of the stuff we sell is not branded because of the industry we're in. That one has our brand, and our customer was fine with it. Unfortunately, it's sideways, but
yes, but like anytime, like if you know Mimo, you've seen them. This is it. So, well, very excited to see you at InfoComm. We will both see you in Orlando then, David. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
All right, so we are going to go to one more commercial. This is from our sponsor and partner, Crestron. So check out this next spot all about modern work solutions, and Tim and I will be right back.
Yeah.
All right, we are back. Tim, you have something to add.
I do. So the Crestron commercial there reminded me, I am going to Crestron Masters this year. They have a new certification, the Crestron Modern Work certification.
Very
So
cool.
I'm heading over to Madrid, the 13th, 14th, and 15th of May, and I will be trying my hand at getting certified. I don't do very well in industry tests. I'll just put it
I don't
that way.
either, clearly.
So we'll see how I do.
Yeah, no, I think that there's like something that's kind of fun about like very publicly taking an industry exam.
I don't think it's fun at all.
No, I do, because then when you fail, you can just kind of be like, I failed.
Yeah.
But then the industry is like sad with you, like how when I failed the CTS, like Dave Labuscus himself came to meet me outside of the test center to give me a hug. Like, it's really nice that the industry like can rally for you in times of this. So everyone who is in the industry, please rally behind Timothy Albright here, who is going to take this master's test, and we are going to send him good vibes of passing.
And maybe crib sheets, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Or both.
All of the above.
All of the above.
That's exciting, though. Yeah. Do you know what this is like going to entail?
The test, I don't.
Okay.
So I've been.
So you have not studied a lick.
Oh Lord, no. No,
Okay.
and that's just par for the course for me. But I have been to Modern Work Summit a number of times. Crestron has
Okay.
done this as in conjunction with their master's program for the
Mm-hmm.
last few years. And so this new certification, it's a new certification. So I'm looking forward to kind of learning about it and then trying to pass it.
No, that'll be fun. And then
Yeah.
you can tell all of us what it was like. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll get it too. Who knows?
See? Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, we'll all take it.
Yeah.
But okay, we've got some news. Let's go through that. So everyone probably knows about Sony's spatial reality display. This is like about smack my microphone out of the way. Yay big. And the thing about it is it's like kind of forced perspective 3D. So it's really good for 3D renderings. If you are a really good example I saw of someone using it for their work that they did for the Hollywood Bowl a few years ago.
Yeah.
So they could map everything out where they wanted to put it on stage. It's a very cool idea. So like glasses free 3D. But they have a 15-inch, a 27-inch. But the update is apparently enhancing its capability with key design, game engine, and visualization platforms, but it's also like improving performance and usability. So this new SDK, it basically expands this OpenXR integration and now kind of adds a new control panel that allows developers to fine tune things a little bit more. So that is my like high level description of that. If you want to read a little bit more of the nitty gritty, we've got the full story on rAVe Pubs.
Yeah, and auto stereoscopic screens are just phenomenal, and I don't know how they work. I just know that they do, and they're cool.
That's not for us to know.
No,
That's for us to
Smarter
talk
people.
about, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about, I have a story. This is from the Security Industry Association, and I was checking this out yesterday because I send out a newsletter once a month that's all about physical and cybersecurity and kind of how it crosses over with AV. So it's kind of my way of trying to pull the security folks and the AV folks together because we're kind of becoming one big happy family.
Yeah.
So I came across this piece all about like this policy update on the US tariffs on imports. It was posted last week. So let's talk about this because this is specifically kind of geared toward the security industry, but this is probably going to affect all of us. And nobody really knows what's going on right now. I feel like everyone in the industry is very much just kind of about it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
So because we just don't know what's going to happen.
No, we don't. I did a panel a couple of weeks ago at an event with three CEOs of manufacturers, and all three of them use the term volatility, right?
Okay.
And all they asked for was an end to the volatility. Just tell us what the tariffs are going to be.
Yeah.
Was the ask. And in those 2 ensuing weeks, they have not gotten that answer.
Right.
Because there are a couple of different things that happened. First of all, the big announcement on the 2nd of April, all the tariffs and the 10% and on up across the board. And then there was a moratorium put in place for 90 days. And then we've got exclusions. And exclusions is a lot of numbers, and some of them are in this article, but it's where certain types of technology, including telecommunications technology, are not going to be affected or not affected as much as, let's say, tennis shoes that are made in various parts of the world that are coming into the States.
Mm-hmm.
So Steph is right. We don't know, I had somebody tell me that this is a fluid situation. That I think that's an understatement. And all we're waiting on is for kind of the dust to settle, the floor to get solid under us, so that the manufacturers can make decisions and the dealers, and then honestly, the IT and the AV managers can make decisions based on what those folks do. Yes,
I think that from the economists that I have read, like what they're all saying is just kind of stay the course right now. Like, don't make any cut and dry, like crazy blanket decisions right now, because that's not going to help you. It's not going to help your business. It's not going to help the consumers. It's not really going to help anyone. So like a good example they gave is like, please don't go 2020 toilet paper on anything. And I think that that's a really good piece of advice, because it's like, don't stockpile stuff. Just stay the course.
Yeah.
I know that seems insane to like be like, don't freak out, which this is like very freak outable.
Oh,
like,
totally.
But I think like, you know, when we heard about the potential tariffs with Canada, a lot of us were like, and Mexico, a lot of us were like, what are we going to do? Like, I have to put gas in my car from now or else. And like, it's just like, okay, like, let's not do all of that. So I don't think I have better advice than that, because we don't have a lot of like cut and dry answers for what's going to happen at this point. Yeah.
It really is just stay the course and hang on for a second. Manufacturers are already adjusting existing tariff guidelines, right?
Yeah.
There was a number of manufacturers that came out and said it was an average of 10 to 12% increase. I think some of them went up to 15%. And those folks are already drafting new versions of that based on what's happened in the last 7 days.
Yeah.
I talked to one poor manufacturer who, so there are some manufacturers who are giving dealers a tariff surcharge line, right? Completely understand that, right? It's pretty cut and dry. But this one manufacturer, they went through every single SKU and they just baked the tariffs into a new price list. Which, okay, I understand that, except now they have to go back through.
Right. And redo it
because
that wasn't the final amount.
So give us a tariff line. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's easier on you. It's easier on us.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better option.
Yeah.
All right. So not to move on from that, because we'll come back to that. I think that we're going to be talking about this for a very long time, but we have other stories. So let me just bring those up. So let's talk about rAVe for a second. rAVe is very deep in the sustainability game and has been for a while, but they actually launched a sustainability focused trade-in program, which I think is so cool. I'm so excited when manufacturers do this. Like, can more of y'all do this? I'll talk about it. I'll cover it on this because I think it's so cool and so important for our industry. So this trade-in program, what it does is companies can trade in current or previous generation video collaboration products from major manufacturers that are not just rAVe. So BirdDog, Canon, Crestron, Cisco, HP Poly, JVC, Logitech, like y'all get my vibe. And in return, they get trade-in credit toward the purchase of new rAVe equipment, along with a green certificate that verifies the responsible disposal of their old devices, because rAVe kind of helps you dispose of them responsibly. Like, they don't just like throw it away when you give it to them. They recycle it responsibly. So I think that is perfect.
This is a huge issue. And you've got organizations like sAVe that are all about sustainability and the green initiatives. And getting rid of old equipment is a huge issue for this industry, right?
It is.
And having the ability to consciously, responsibly get rid of and dispose of old equipment is a huge thing.
Yes. So that is where sAVe can come to your aid as well. So even if it's like equipment that does not fall under what rAVe can give you trade-in credit for, sAVe also has a program called Save a Second Life. So if you go to one of their reps and you tell sAVe like, hey, I've got all of this equipment, I don't know what to do with it, they will help to connect you with like a government entity, a school, or someone that can like breathe more life into that product until it actually is end of life. Because a lot of times in rAVe, we stop using products just because a new one came out or there's an update, you're sunsetting that program, whatever, but that product still has some life left. Like, don't throw it away. rAVe can help you, and also sAVe can help you. And the really great thing is, I talked about this at Almost E4, and I've had some integrators actually reach out to me about like, hey, can you get me in touch with someone at sAVe? I have stuff I want to recycle. So I feel like in my own small way, I have helped make the planet a better place. And
that's awesome.
rAVe is helping, and obviously sAVe is doing a lot to help too. So you can be part of this So do your part as well. That's that.
That's your sermon for the day.
Yes, I will get off of my soapbox now. So let's talk. We've gotten some more digital signage news. This is from Carousel Digital Signage. They've added HTML-based web player options to their cloud-based Carousel Express players. Tim, why is this important?
It's important because of dynamic content, right? You've got the nice thing, and if you're not aware with this, the reason that Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 are so engaging and exciting is the interactability, right? I am old enough to remember Web 1.0, and it wasn't that interactive, but the ability to embed HTML files and that interactivity into digital signage is a huge jump.
Very cool. So let's continue on. We got a couple more stories here and not a lot of time. So I just figured out how to pronounce this company because I saw them in a video. So do you know ATOMOS?
Atomos?
They said Atomos
Atomos
in a video. And I was like, I've been saying that wrong for years. So Atomos has entered, unless the person in the video was saying that wrong. Maybe they were. You can let me know. Am I saying it wrong now? Was I saying it wrong then? They have entered the PTZ camera market. So this is another, important PTZ camera option. We are all looking for options for that in our conference rooms and just about everywhere you can imagine. So this is the AIEYE range of AI enhanced PTZ cameras. So these are aimed at education, at corporate, production, houses of worship, and even live events. So the AI lineup currently includes 3 cameras and then also a controller. So basically, I think that with PTZ cameras, there's obviously an option for just about everything that you could ever want. If you like it, and also over every standard of sending information that you want. But of course, these AI models, they support NDI, H.265, H.264, and a few others as well. So obviously there's an option out there for no matter how you send information. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, and the AI in the cameras is becoming, and if it hasn't already landed, as the next huge thing.
Yeah.
Because the ability to process that on the edge, and I think the phrase is edge AI, processing that information and making those decisions at the actual device, actually at the actual camera, takes the load off of any sort of centralized processing.
Yes. So some big news from this startup company that they exhibited at ISE for the first time ever. This company called NetSpeak. I have been very vocal about how cool I think this company is. Generative AI for AV. This is kind of like what they've done is they've developed an AI platform for AV and also UC network management to kind of help keep boots off the ground for certain projects that you might not need to send a full person to. This generative AI, her name's Lena. She can help you kind of manage a few of these like smaller projects. Resetting all of the equipment in a room is one of them. As long as it's on the network, like she can help you. And I have been singing this company's praises for a while, but Midwich Ignite actually announced an investment in NetSpeak, which I think is really big. This company, I think, is going to be pretty huge for our industry. So I think this is just kind of like an exciting step for both companies and seeing like the type of thing that AV is seeing kind of as important right now, which obviously AI is super important. And we've been kind of looking for a way to harness generative AI in our industry. And I think NetSpeak is kind of like spearheading that.
I would agree with that. You and I talked ahead of ISE, and I think I made the comment or the assertion that there's going to be AI marketing at ISE, and then there's going to be real AI.
This is real AI. Exactly. So definitely check them out. They're a very cool company. I believe they're coming to InfoComm. They're coming to InfoComm. So definitely check them out. They're amazing. I think that we're just going to see more and more partners and investments being made into this technology because it really is that cool. Yeah. So, last thing I want to remind you guys about Launch Week 11. It's next week. Tim is part of it. Tim, you're coming on to replay NAB with me. We have a ton of sessions that we are preparing you for, and they're all we're not doing themed days this time. We're just kind of like putting everything everywhere. But again, each day is 2.5 CTS, CTSI, or CTSD RUs. So if you need some of your 30 that you're supposed to get every 3 years to keep your certification, this is a great way to knock out 7.5 in 3 days. So I hope to see you guys there. It's going to be around 12:30 Eastern to around 4 Eastern each day, depending on like if sessions go a little longer or not. It happens. But I would expect it to be about that long. And you can register by going to lavnch.com. Just save your spot. It has a link to put it in your calendar so you don't forget. But hope to see you guys next week. It is sure to be a lot of fun content. We're excited about it.
Me too. And we'll find Gary by then.
And we'll find him because he is hosting like a good number of those sessions. So we will put eyes back on Gary and bring him back. But Tim, thank you so much for being my co-host this time. I have appreciated your time.
Yeah.
And all of you, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here each Wednesday morning to kind of start off your day. I appreciate it. And we will see you next time, same place. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching rAVe TV.
Bye.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.